guys, welcome back. So today I am filming a first impressions on the new Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. It's a water-based foundation. It is in a beautiful glass jar with a really nice purple gold gradient, and it comes with like this lab-like dropper thingy-majiggy that is cool. I'm not sure if I prefer it to a pump though, that's my honest opinion, but overall this foundation so far, I must say I'm liking it, so I can be forgiving of the pump. That's what I have on my skin now. You guys are going to see I show you how I apply it both with a sponge and with the brush, and then see how it wears throughout the day. So I just wanted to film a little intro and let's get into the application. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with the foundation. I still have it in its packaging. The color, I ordered it online because they didn't have it in store. I swatched it in store and I think my summer shade is going to be closest to the light neutral color. Keep in mind that I've been working 5 days in a row and I've not been in the sun, so I might have gotten a little bit fairer over those few days, and this might be a little bit dark, but I feel like it's going to match my body a little bit better, and I'm going to make it work regardless, because now that I'm going to have a few days off, I'm going to get a little bit darker again. But it was raining today, so I decided I was just going to film this video and not wait till the color matched me any better, because the next shade down would have been way too light for me anyways. It does have a little bit of a dropper, which is something different. I'm happy that they, it's a little bit innovative, I guess. It's different, so I'm excited to see how it works out. The one thing I have noticed though by just trying to swatch it at Sephora was that when they started to become low in foundation, the dropper didn't work very well. It didn't get enough of the product, so I guess that could be an issue towards the end, but you can always just pour it on the back of your hand at that point, I guess. So all it says on the front is Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation, and it says shake well before use, so that's what I'm going to do. And I decided that I was going to, sorry if I'm shaking, I decided that I was going to use a beauty blender for half of my face and then my Real Techniques foundation brush for the other half, so you guys can see the difference in coverage. I do typically prefer to use beauty blenders on my skin just because I have very dry skin, and I find that it helps add a little bit of hydration and not cling to my dry patches as much. I think I'm just going to do first impressions without primer, without moisturizer, to see how the foundation acts on its own. Keep in mind, sometimes I do use the Too Faced moisturizing coconut water primer. Sometimes I use the Becca Backlight filtering or something primer to add a little bit of a sheen to my skin. So I do use other products to supplement foundation sometimes, but it can impact the performance of the foundation itself. So I decided I'm just going to try it on its own for today. Okay, so this side is going to be the sponge side and this side is going to be the brush side. So I'm going to start with the sponge since it's what I use most often and I'm most used to. I don't know if I should put it directly onto the sponge or onto my face. I feel like I should try and put it on my face because the sponge might just absorb the foundation. Okay, so the way I did it is I have the pump in there and I just press on it once and see how much comes out. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to put some on my cheek. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to use about that much to start because it's hard to tell how much I'm going to need. I think I'm going to need more than that. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing, first of all, my beauty blender was very dry because I just cleaned it, so the soap kind of makes it a little bit harder to apply straight away. It's a little bit dark for my neck, but it matches the rest of my body. So if I take it down the neck, I'm just going to go ahead and put it directly on the sponge. I think this is going to be easier. The color's not too bad. I mean, it depends how much it oxidizes, I guess. Honestly, I think that I've cleaned my beauty blender one too many times because it's not applying very well. And I think it's because of the beauty blender. It's so done. So I think I should try and use a new beauty blender next time. So this is one coat. And I mean, keep in mind, I didn't really have anything to cover on my skin. My skin's like doing really well right now. I just have a little bit of texture on the side, but it's just bumps, so you can't really tell from far away. I like the way it covered, but like I said, I didn't have really much to cover. You can see between the two sides, there's not that much of a difference. So that's one layer. I would say, I guess it's like a medium coverage. Especially with the sponge, I feel like it's more of a light medium than an actual medium. I'm going to try with the brush on the other side, and then I'm going to try layering it on top afterwards. Whoa, it like shoots out. I don't know how I feel about this applicator, to be honest. I think it makes things a little bit more complicated. Maybe I should have just put it on my hand. Why did I not think of that? It like threw me off because it was different. I think I honestly prefer a pump. It's cool that it's different, but I'm kind of surprised that I think I'm preferring the brush side with this foundation, and usually I prefer the sponge. That could also be because my beauty blender is done. Like, if you like look at it up close, there's like holes in it and it's like falling apart. So maybe that's like not doing it justice. That's possible. For the next video, I promise I'll change my beauty blender. I'll probably use this foundation with my beauty blender like before I post this video, and then I can add in a little edit here of like if it worked better with like a new beauty blender. So it definitely just is more full coverage with a brush, but generally speaking, that's how foundations work. With a brush, you'll get a heavier coverage, but I must say that like it doesn't give a heavy coverage. So like, I mean, it doesn't look heavy, you know. With the brush, it does give a nice flawless like airbrush look to it, but it doesn't look heavy, where a lot of foundations with a brush can start to look a little bit heavy and a little bit cakey on me, especially because I have dry skin. I do have some dry patches on my nose right now, and then a little bit down here from being in the sun a lot. My skin does have like a lot of dry spots in the summer because I'm outside so much and it gets a lot of sun. And honestly, it did not cling to any dry patches, which I'm really impressed with, and I hoped about this foundation because it is water-based, and those are usually best for people with drier skin. But honestly, I am really liking the way it applied on this side. You can see a lot more dewiness coming through on this side. I don't know if it's just the lighting, if the camera is picking it up. It is still dewy enough. Like, it's not a matte foundation by any means, even on this side. But this side definitely lets like the natural like radiance shine through more than this side. But I think I do prefer this side. But honestly, they both look really, really good. This one looks a little bit more natural. Looking at it, it does look like I'm not wearing as much makeup, but this one doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup either. It just looks like a more perfected version of my skin. This is just one layer of the foundation. I don't even know if you can pick up the difference on camera. It's just a tiny bit more blurred on this side than on this side. Now I'm going to go in with a second layer to see how it layers. And this time I'm going to put it on the back of my hand so I can see how much like one pump of this really is. Okay, so one of the like dropper things basically is equivalent to one pump of regular foundation. You can see it's very runny, very watery. So probably not everyone's taste, but so far I'm really liking it. On the sponge side, I used about half of the pump. I do feel like it did layer pretty well. There's no weird creasing around the nose area or any like harsh fine lines or anything like that. The coverage was kind of evening out. The second sponge layer was kind of equivalent to one of the brush layers. So now the other side's looking a tiny bit heavier, but nothing that looks drastic or heavy. It's just more full coverage. It honestly blends really, really well, because the issue that I usually have with foundations, and the reason that I usually use a sponge instead of a brush, is first of all because I have dry patches and it often clings to my dry patches, but also because I find that with a brush it can get very streaky and it does not blend well. I do really love this foundation brush. It is my favorite one, the one I use the most. I noticed that This does, you know, streak a little bit or clings or moves things around, and then it kind of just looks uneven and patchy. And honestly, this foundation looks absolutely spectacular on both sides. So if I was having a day that I wanted just a more natural look, I would probably just go with one layer of the sponge. That was like a very light to medium. 2 layers of the sponge is medium, and I would say 2 layers of the brush is full. So I am really, really happy with this so far. I got no concealer, nothing else than the foundation. I'm really, really happy with it so far, and the color isn't that bad. It matches me pretty well. So far, I am extremely impressed with this foundation. I'm gonna have to see how it wears throughout the day, and if it does settle once it sets. One thing I've noticed is that it's not very tacky, it's not very sticky, a little bit, but like I just finished applying it. Nothing like that feels like it's transferring. So I really like that as well. But I like that you can still see some radiance through my skin, and I don't really have naturally very radiant, glowy skin. So it does leave you with a little bit of a glow, nothing that makes you look shiny, just healthy. And I really, really like that. If you use a powder over top, I'm sure you can mattify that if that's an issue for you. I don't know how well this would hold up on oily skin just because it is very runny, but it does set. Like, it doesn't stay very wet, so I don't know if it would be too slick for your face. It seems like a pretty good all-around formula that would catch a lot of people unless you're on one of the extreme ends. So that's it for the application. I'm gonna go ahead and now film a tutorial of the rest of my makeup, and then come back here and show you what it looks like with the rest of my makeup on, and then check in throughout the day. So I'm back with my finished makeup. So all I did really is added a little bit of blush, highlight, I did my eye makeup and my lips, and this is what the foundation looks like. I am very, very pleased with it. I have like, you see the sparkles all over my face. I probably should have done the foundation after I did my eye makeup. I didn't realize I was going to go all crazy with some glitter and stuff. But anyways, I think that the makeup wears really, really well over top. I did not have any issue blending out my bronzer, concealer, anything like that. It all went on really, really well over top of the foundation. I don't know how I feel about this lip color, so we can just ignore the lip color. But everything else blended out really smoothly over top, and if this wears well, I am loving this foundation so far. So it is 9:30, and I will keep you up to date on the progress of the look. Hey guys! So it's a few hours later because I filmed a few videos. That's why I'm kind of like changed and stuff. So far, the foundation, so last time I checked in was like 9:30, I think. It's 12:20 now, and I don't think it's changed one bit. It still looks absolutely flawless, and I have not actually sprayed my face with any setting spray yet, which is usually something that I do every single day without fail, no matter what I'm wearing, whether it's BB cream or a foundation or anything like that. And I have not even done that yet, and it has not moved, which is pretty impressive because those definitely make your foundation look less cakey and more flawless and like not move as much. And so far I didn't even need that, and it looks really, really good. And I've looked at myself. I don't know how it's coming across on camera if my face looks a lot darker than my neck or the rest of my body, but honestly in person it's the perfect shade to go with my body. I do have to work my neck a little bit, but that's like, my neck is always a lot lighter. For some reason it doesn't get any sun like my face and my shoulders and chest does. So it's a really, really good color, I think, for me. And once again, light neutral. It was the darkest one from the light series. In terms of like brush versus beauty blender, once all my makeup was on, I can barely tell the difference between the two sides. You can still tell this one's maybe a little bit more blurred, but overall very even between the two. And usually there is quite a distinction between which side I prefer, and I usually prefer the beauty blender because by this point it would look heavy and cakey on this side, but it does not. They look very even, very similar in terms of coverage once the rest of my makeup was on. Not showing any of the pores on my nose. It's not sinking in on the sides of my nose like some foundations do. So It's 4:15 now, so it's been about 4-ish hours. As you can see, the lip color completely wore off. It didn't last. I'm not impressed with the lip color that I used in my tutorial. If you guys saw that, it's gone. It was all flaky and patchy, and I'm just really disappointed. But anyways, that's besides the fact. The foundation is holding up flawlessly. Like, it's superb. Like, I don't know if the camera will do it justice. So other than the fact that I do have some glitter that fell throughout my face that might be like giving a shine, everything else is, so I've had it since 9:15 or 9:30, let's say. It's been on for 7 hours so far, and it looks like I just put it on. It has not changed at all, and I have been, I did sit outside for a bit, and it's like quite hot and sticky outside, very humid. I have been like kind of like touching my face a little bit, and no transfer, nothing, like it's not wearing off or anything. My camera's blinking red. That's not good. Hopefully I'll get to check in one more time. So I'll cut this clip short, but you guys can see I honestly don't think at this point I'm going to have anything bad to say about this foundation, because 7 hours, and most people I would say like their foundation to last about 8 hours. I do have longer days than that sometimes, but for the most part you would want about an 8 to 10 hour wear out of your foundation, and I cannot complain because I did not wear a primer or a setting spray, and the foundation looks like spot on, just as good as it looked when I first applied it. I have not had that fading which I usually have around this area of my face, and I have blown my nose a few times today because of my allergies. It's not to say that I've blown it as much as I sometimes do, because then it's only normal the foundation would wear off, but considering that I have blown my nose and touched my face in this area, it's still pretty intact, and the little parts that maybe have faded ever so slightly have not faded to the point where you can see the line where my foundation is off and then my normal skin's underneath. So far I give it a big A+, and I'm really impressed and happy with it. Obviously, it is a first impression. The more I wear it, the more I'll discover things maybe I don't like so much, or things that I love even more about it. But as far as first impressions goes, this is one of the best I've like seen in a long time. So far so good. I'll be back hopefully with one more check-in if my battery lasts. So that's it, guys, for this first impressions on the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation. I know I'm in another outfit yet once again. The weather was weird today. It went from hot to thunderstorms to hot again, and so I've been like changing, like going outside, coming inside. So anyways, that's besides the point. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Overall, I am absolutely loving this foundation. I give it a big A+, thumbs up, whatever you want to give it. As far as first impression goes, it's one of the better foundations I've tried in a very long time. So I'm very pleased with it. This is an absolute home run in my book, and definitely if you guys have tried this foundation, leave me your thoughts down below. But I would say if you have drier skin or normal skin, this foundation will look superb on you. I have not had a complaint yet. If you guys want a follow-up video on this in case anything changes, but I honestly, and that's a big claim to say, I think this will be my new favorite foundation, and I'm so excited. You guys know that I wouldn't say this if I wasn't truly impressed, especially off of first impressions, but so far it has lasted amazingly. The ultimate test will be to wear it when I go to work or school and see how it wears then, because those are my longest days, the ones where, you know, I'll have the most like conditions to survive under, to wear under, whatever, you guys know what I mean. Considering that I've been going about my normal day and it's been many hours, I cannot complain. It looks really good. I hope you guys agree. Give me a thumbs up if you want to see more foundation reviews or first impressions, and I will see you next week. Bye!